We're now live. Hey everyone, this is John Klinghammer again for the Kansas City Symphony Musicians, and we are once again going to talk to a member of the Kansas City Symphony this evening, Assistant Principal Cellist Alex East, and there he is, and I'm going to join. I think we're getting much better at starting these interviews. Oh, hello, Alex.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. You joined, and there was a chime.
There's wind chimes right behind the phone. I'm sitting on my porch. So
Oh, it's fantastic. It was like a magical sound effect.
Yeah.
How are you doing? You're on the porch of your home there in Union Hill, I see.
Yes.
Enjoying some lovely fall weather.
Yes, I am, and I'm having some tea to keep me awake while I do the interview.
Good call.
My first program live interview. I don't know what it will be like, so bear with me.
Yeah, I'm like just thinking positive. I have that puppy, so my sleep right now is at a minimum. So I'm like,
yeah,
thinking puppy thoughts to keep me going. So you are from, or at least you were raised in Fredonia, New York. Am I saying that right?
Yes, it is a small town in western New York, the westernmost county in New York State, along Lake Erie.
Nice. Did you know there's a Fredonia, Kansas?
There is a Fredonia, Kansas. I knew that.
And it's not very far from Buffalo, Kansas.
Oh, really? I didn't know there was a Buffalo.
Which is...
I'm surprised there is one.
So was growing up was Buffalo kind of your town? Did you go to Buffalo a lot, or not necessarily?
We didn't really go to Buffalo that much. Buffalo or Erie were the nearest city in Pennsylvania. We did occasionally. Wanted to go to a big city, we'd go to Toronto, about 3 hours. Make the big 10-hour trip to New York City in the 70s,
wow.
80s. Yeah, but very rarely. More. Yeah, we pretty much stayed at home.
Cool. And so then you went to school at Indiana, New England Conservatory, and then wound up with the New World Symphony, and then found your way here. What were some, I don't know, what were formative moments for you through college? Was there anything in particular, a teacher or an experience where you were like, okay, I think I'm good at the cello, this is going to be my thing, I'm going
well,
for this.
I was that good, but I always wanted to. Once I got to high school and I decided to pursue cello, I really was kind of like, well, the ideal situation for me would be playing in an orchestra and then also playing some jazz. I really wanted to play part of a group. I thought being in something that was bigger than myself, where I wasn't responsible for everything, but I could just be a part. That was always the goal for me. And all the stuff that you do in school by yourself, all the recitals and the concertos that you learn, and all the aspirations that you have there, for me were only kind of like, that was a step of getting yourself ready for hopefully, if you cross your fingers, if you're lucky and you can win an audition, maybe getting some kind of an orchestral job. So I did always kind of have that in the back of my head when I was in school. I was never really sure, even until the moment I won the job, that I would be able to. So I think like a lot of people, when I auditioned thing after I got to New World, I realized, going to New World Symphony, I realized I need to give this a shot and like try to really do orchestral training, get an audition.
I gotcha.
I didn't really study with orchestral players who trained specifically. Like some people really go to like a principal player. I had never really done that specifically. So that was my time there. I really focused on that and did a bunch of auditions until I won one. Good. So yeah, that was basically
cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, your audio, I think for me, your audio is cutting in and out, and I'm wondering if it's the
moving a little closer
chime, or if it's just
maybe I'm a little too far away from it.
Maybe so. That could be.
Is that better?
That does seem better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to be a little closer. My
Okay.
head will look very large, but
That's okay. It
it's
works. The
okay.
bigger,
My age,
you
you can
gotta,
be as large as you want.
yeah, you gotta fill the screen. That's all what it's all about. Um, so, and you were talking about chamber music versus orchestral music, and I know you're really involved with Summerfest, the Summer Chamber Music Festival here in Kansas City. Um, and I know a lot of musicians often talk about, like, if you ask classical musicians, a lot of times they talk about chamber music like the thing they really love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that way? And like, how would you, if you do, why do you feel that way?
Well, there's something, I mean, you spend a lot of time in when you're learning to be an instrumentalist practicing by yourself. And so the first experience that you have where you get to interact with other people and make decisions about how you're going to play and to connect with your friends and your colleagues in that kind of way without being sort of told what to do by, a conductor. There's something really nice to be about having that level of interaction and that kind of the social experience of playing chamber music. And you, of course, have your own voice is still in the mix, but it's not the pressure of it's all on you. So I think that's why a lot of string players really like it. You're not just part of a section. You still have your own voice, but you can connect with other players. But, if you're a really great orchestral player, then you're a great chamber musician. And you bring those skills to the orchestra, and the best orchestras are chamber ensembles. I mean, everyone says that, but it really is true.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes sense to me too. Like as a wind player, I often forget that string players often never have an opportunity to actually be heard as individuals because they're part of such a big section or whatever. So it's probably even more special sometimes for you to be playing chamber music. That makes sense. So you started with the Kansas City Symphony in 1996. Who was the music director in 1996? Was it Bill McLaughlin?
It was Bill McLaughlin. He was in his final couple years, right around the time I was hired. He was getting ready to leave, and they were about to begin a search, I think. So the music director that hired me in '96.
Mm-hmm. So everyone always says they have a special place in their heart for the person that gave them the job.
Yeah. I mean, I had grown up hearing him on St. Paul Sunday Morning, his radio show.
Yeah.
So I, remember hearing his voice coming out of the Lyric Theater, asking me to do something in the audition, and I was like, oh, I know who that is.
NPR is asking me to play my excerpts again.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how would you say things have changed? How would you say the orchestra has changed, the experience has changed over these years, now that we're here in 2020? Obviously, the Kaufman Center is a big part of that change.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was always in looming. I mean, I had heard when I came to audition, I didn't know really anything about Kansas City Symphony when I auditioned. I hadn't heard much about it. They had an audition, and I had been in New World for 2 years, and I was like, I guess I better go because I need a job. And so I had never been to Kansas City. I didn't know anything about it. And so I didn't tell anyone even that I was going. I was just like, well, I'm just going to go take this audition. And showed up to the Lyric Theater. But I had heard that there was some kind of changes going on. It was real vague, but it was like they had new leadership and things were changing. And we're going to have this fantastic new hall in 5 years. And of course, 15 years later, they had the new hall.
That's how that goes.
So there was always this anticipation of there's this shiny new thing coming that's going to change everything. And it actually surpassed our expectations, I think. So I feel really fortunate to have been a part of that, and sort of those first 15 years with the orchestra were just like waiting and doing everything we can to be ready for that. So that was a big highlight for us to get to that point, and we're, I think, so grateful that everyone that made that possible was able to do it. And I'm glad that I stuck it out as long as I did.
Right.
Instead of running the door. Because some people really did. They came and they're like, I don't want to stay around for this. I'm going to go take another audition. I did a little of that, but not really a lot,
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. It wouldn't have occurred to me that you would have known that far in advance that this hall was coming, and then they're
Well,
talking
we
about
didn't really know for sure, but there was
right.
like,
But you're
it was being talked about. I mean, it really
yeah.
was. So,
Mhm.
you know, you had your bets, and you're like, okay, maybe this could be something good eventually. Maybe this could be like a right place to stay, you know, or you know, when I first came, I thought maybe it might be a place to stop for a few years and move on, but I saw the
Mhm.
potential, and I thought maybe I could stay for a while longer.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm here pretty much, you know, for now, 25
yeah.
years
I hear
later.
you. I hear you.
Yeah.
And so that first year in the hall, I mean, what were the? I mean, obviously, it's an incredible building. It's an incredible concert hall. The acoustics are great. You know, is there anything that stands out for you, or just a personal experience from that first year where you just really felt like, wow, like this is.
Well, I think, you know, for all of us, that first concert that we played, there was this kind of a special concert that I don't think we had ever sensed quite the level of anticipation for that. And we did what was it? Like the Casaladra? The opening um, theme, no, Forza del Destino. And just I remember just this anticipation just before we played our first note. There was this like unbelievable quiet, which we had never experienced before, and it
Right.
was super exciting. Just like, how is this going to be? What's the response going to be? And I mean, we knew it would be incredible, but I think it was. I mean, I definitely will always remember that moment, but
Hmm.
especially.
That's very cool. Forces of Destiny.
Yeah.
um, and did you the lyric? I don't remember. I took a couple auditions in the lyric back in the day, but the lyric is it's an opera theater, really, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Well, I think it was a Shriners Hall originally. It was like
Okay.
it was so the walls of it were like kind of condensed. It was very problematic.
Uh, and
Yeah.
what was the seating in there? How many people did it
It was
hold?
similar to what we have in the Kaufman's in the Helzberg Hall.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
It was pretty similar. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, yeah. It was highly problematic in numerous ways.
Yeah. Acoustically
Yeah.
speaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Exactly. Especially.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about your musical origins. You said both of your parents are classical musicians.
Yes.
What
My
did they do?
father's a clarinetist, and I'm
Hey!
a pianist, and that was why they ended up in Fredonia. That there's a State University of Norfolk Fredonia there, and my dad got the teaching position there after playing. He played for 4 years in the Navy band. I was actually born in Bethesda, Maryland, in the same hospital where the president just left. So
Oh,
that was
wow.
yeah. So I was born there, and then like that was right around the time his time finished with the Navy band, and he got the job teaching at the college in 1970, and my mom got a position there as well, and so they both were very, very active teaching and performing. And he played principal clarinet of the Erie Philharmonic for, I think, 3 decades, maybe something
Oh,
like that.
wow. Huh.
Yeah, they were musicians professionally. There was music in the house. Remember I came home from school allegedly as a first grader or something like that, and went to my mom and I said, "Do you know that there are people that don't have a piano in their house?" I mean, I was genuinely surprised that not
Mm, come on back. Come on.
like something that was normal to me.
Yeah, yeah. That's absolutely. You froze for a half second, or maybe I did.
Oh, okay,
That's
sorry.
okay. Piano in the house,
Yeah,
normal for you.
yeah.
And so you were like a growing up on a college campus too. It sounds like with
A little bit, yeah, yeah,
kind of
sort of. I
vibe.
mean, they had a significant music department there, so I mean, whenever there was a need for a kid that needed to learn to sing a role in like a musical or an opera or something like that, they knew that my parents would teach me the music, so I would get the opportunity to do it.
Right.
So I got involved in doing a certain amount of singing activities as a kid. In addition to piano lessons, I had piano lessons with my mom. and with other teachers in town, and never really took it that seriously. But but it was always around, and I always did a little bit of this, that, and the other.
Right. Cool. Hey everyone, if you're watching and you want to ask Alex a question, you can type it right in the comment box, or you can type it in stories, and it'll pop up here, and I can answer it. All the questions you have about the cello, Fredonia, New York, what's it like to grow up with two college professor musician parents, and so you were. It sounds like you sang a lot when you were younger, maybe in chorus.
I sang a lot in choruses and things like that. When I was, I think, 5 years old, I got to play the role of the little boy in the Madame Butterfly, and so I would found like theater type people, and so I was always kind of interested in that kind of thing. And whether there's a solo, like for a boy soprano, like I sang the Chichester Psalm solo. Now I listen to little kids sing that, and I'm like, that's hard. How do they do that? But I was very interested in theater, and that was more of my interest in high school than music. I played piano a little bit and all that kind of stuff, but theater was sort of it was a kind of a roundabout way coming to the cello. I mean, I took some cello lessons when I was maybe 4th grade. Went through the first couple Suzuki books, but I was never serious, and it was too hard. It was hard to make a good sound on a cello as a kid. Most string players start very seriously when they're really young, and I had a little bit, but I was never very good, really. I was never very serious, because there were too many other things that I was interested in, and it wasn't until much later that I actually buckled down and was like, okay, I want to play the cello now. I put it away for years and years, and didn't pick it up again until I was 16. So that was a little unusual compared to most people that go professionally into music.
Yeah, that seems like that's really something to start so late and manage to turn it into a career. That's impressive.
It's impressive no matter when you start.
Yeah, that's true.
But
good point.
I mean, it does help to have a background understanding music, and keyboard backgrounds.
Right. Really,
you understand a certain amount. I mean, I was never like a great type or anything, but I had a mother that could help me at home, which it's an advantage. It really is.
And you learned to play the harpsichord.
I did. Well, this is sort of my that was en route to the cello. The summers after my freshman and sophomore years in high school, I went to Interlaken to the what was then called the National Music House, the Interlaken Arts Camp or whatever. But I went as a theater major. I was in the Shakespeare division, and I didn't even do the musical theater side because my parents were like, you do musicals at home in your high school. Like, why don't you do the Shakespeare section? I was like, okay. And they were just amazing summers for me. On a lot of levels, just learning how to interact with other people was a big part of those summers, and it's been fun to reconnect through social media with people that I knew then that I hadn't seen in decades. And now we're regularly in communication. I love that, but it's led me to sort of remember where was my brain, because I remember coming back after the sophomore year summer and thinking, well, maybe I'll play the cello again. And my parents were like, really? You want to play the cello now? I was like, yeah, I think maybe I want to join the school orchestra. And I got a plywood cello and was fooling around with it. And that spring, I started taking lessons and got really serious really, really fast, and was completely focused on that. I mean, I still did musicals in my high school. The next couple of years, I had lead roles in my musicals there. The next couple of years, but in the background, I was always thinking I really wanted to do more with this, and I didn't know how much I could do, and until I auditioned and got into college and everything.
Right.
And I wouldn't say it was easy, but I think they must have sensed I had some potential, or I don't know. But anyway,
you're doing something, right?
Yeah. Must have done something. I don't know.
do you find so if you did a lot of theater, how do you compare the pressure of performance as a person in theater versus being a musical performer with an instrument?
I don't know, because I haven't done it for so long. I was really part of my conversations with my friends that went to Interlochen, and most of them have gone on in a variety of different directions. Some actually did go on and to have some degree of theater careers, and some have real careers. But we were talking about, I was just trying to imagine myself wanting to do that, and I can't even imagine myself doing it. I'm a horribly self-conscious person, terrible at talking to an audience. Like, I'm never the person that wants to get up with a microphone and announce anything. I mean, people would think that I would want to do that, but I actually don't really have any. Maybe I got it all out in high school. I don't know, but the memorizing the lines, I can't imagine doing that. I think just because we do so much, and you're just reading it off the page all the time. But I think there is an element of drama in music, and maybe I was able to impersonate being a cellist long enough to actually figure out how to play. I don't know. Maybe that was part of it. I don't know.
Fake it till you make it, literally.
Kinda.
Yeah. Whoop. Here come the cops.
Yeah. Sorry, we've got 31st Street over here, we've got a lot of sirens. So.
Yeah. I think it's interesting though. I think it's a common misconception that an orchestral musician would necessarily be someone who is extroverted, who loves to perform, who is comfortable on stage. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's many of them are, but a lot of orchestral musicians really prefer to be a part of the group. They love playing music, but they don't want the spotlight on them personally.
Yeah. I definitely feel a little bit, I mean, I'm kind of extroverted sometimes, but I don't know, being, secluded all the time, I'm actually okay sometimes being alone a lot. I think that was maybe one of the things I realized doing in those summers is like, I can't compete with the level of extroversion and energy that some of these people have. I don't know if music really I feel like maybe I'm more of a musician, and the thing that I like is being a part of it. I don't really actually need to be the center of attention as much as that. So yeah, I mean,
theater people will make you realize what real extroverts are like.
I could not.
Yeah, for sure. So you're one of many musicians participating in our mobile music box concerts that are happening all over the city right now. Which group are you in? Who are you playing with?
I am in a string quintet with Tony DeMarco, Stephanie Larson, Jessica Nance, and Evan Hollowan. So
I just talked to Stephanie last week, I think. And so you're the quarantet, she said.
We're quarantet. Yes, we nixed the COVID-19 quintet as our name and went with quarantet because it just sounded a little. I think Stephanie was a little freaked out, so she suggested quarantet, and I was like, okay, fine.
All right, there you go. And how's that been so far? Those performances, like.
Well, it's. I mean, I love chamber music, so I'm like, hey, we get to play real music. And after not being able to play with other people for so long, I mean, at first, when this started, I was kind of looking forward to, I was sort of like, well, this is kind of like sabbatical. I kind of need one. I mean, it's been 25 years. I'm at that point where, like, we've been busy, and like, super successful at it, but you don't have time to think. And I was like, maybe this is a good time for me to like sort of playing and take a little break and do all this. But I really do miss playing with other people because, like I said, that's what it is for me. Yeah. And I was really happy to get back together with people and have some kind of aspiration to play real music that we really wanted to play together. And even if we're wearing masks, even if it's outside, because normally I hate playing outside. Two players don't like playing outside, playing on a video. Those are our options. Right. They're the things that I hate. I hate doing this. But I was like, okay, the weather's okay. We had one where it was super hot and windy and the music's blowing off the stand. And then it was cold, the last one we did. And I think it's going to be hot again on Wednesday. So, you're dealing with all that. And after having the glamour of the Kaufman Center and like the acoustics, which are, so pristine and
you haven't found the weather sweet spot yet.
No, not quite. And acoustically outdoors, I mean, there's limitations especially but for everyone really.
it really makes you aware of how incredible it is to play, not even just at Helzberg Hall, but like in any indoor hall. Like it's genuinely hard to play outside. You sound weird. It's cold. Your fingers are, like everything's strange.
It affects everything, yeah. And if you can't turn the page, and like I remember like playing along, so, oh, the wind is not too bad. This is too bad. And I turn the page, and all of a sudden, thunk, and go.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's in a mid speed. Like, what was I thinking?
That's cool.
But it's so great to see people, and the audience is so appreciative, and people will come at anything, and they're so happy to hear it, and it's relaxed, which I like. Like as much as happy as I am about the happy hours and those performances, they're stressful because there's so many people. I almost get way more nervous for that than I ever anticipated. I mean, we never anticipated those would be as well attended as they are, but playing outside for just people, in lawn chairs, I actually really like it. So
it's kind of nice, right? There's a different kind of intimacy there that you get to have with
and people really need it. They need to hear it. They need something. They'll come for it, really.
Yeah, people are so appreciative of any time I've played outside during the pandemic. They're just like, they just love it so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really cool. All right, well, we're going to run out of time here, Alex.
All right.
But as we do sometimes, I've made up a ridiculous quiz for you.
Uh-oh.
Let me just check. Okay, so this quiz, you played the cello, your last name is East, so this quiz is 10 things, there are 10 questions, all of the answers rhyme with either East or cello. Okay?
Okay.
It's going to be good. The first one's easy. We can get you started off real good. All right, here we go. Number 1, Beauty and the
Beast.
That is correct. Number 2, jiggly dessert that comes in red and green.
Cello.
Number 3, what are you called when you join the New World Symphony?
A fellow.
Excellent. Number 4, what kind of meal is fit for a king?
Roast beast.
Oh, I like that. That's such a better answer. I was going for feast, but you totally get credit for that. You totally get credit for that.
That's a thing.
Yeah. Number 5, this Saul won the Pulitzer Prize for Humboldt's gift.
What?
Saul, S-A-U-L, won the Saul Bellow is correct. Number 6, it helps bread rise.
Yeast.
Number 7, my car wasn't bought, it was... I didn't buy it, it was... That's tough. Or I didn't rent my apartment, it was... Leased.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. So lame. So lame. All right, 3 more and then this will be over and you'll never have to do it again.
All right.
Number 8, common English greeting.
Hello.
Number 9, this one's a little complicated. If you were tricked or frauded into selling your nice, warmly lined clothing for very little money, you might say that you were... Fleeced. That is correct. Thank you for playing along. And number 10, this is for double the money. It's a 2-word answer. If you don't do the do, you might try this Coca-Cola product instead.
Mellow Yellow.
Yes.
I know Mellow Yellow.
See, I knew you would know Mellow Yellow. I knew you would know Mellow Yellow.
We're going back to Santa and Shasta territory.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Alex, I think it's safe to say you did better on this quiz than anyone else who has ever taken it.
What can I say?
Yeah, bravo. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Kansas City Symphony Musicians Insta thing.
Okay.
It was nice chatting with you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and I hope it was interesting enough.
I think it was fascinating. I hope everyone agrees. Thanks for watching, everyone.
All right.
Bye, everyone. See you later. I don't know. I don't even know how I get out of this.